They dangled $100,000 in front of me. I said, look, I don't want your money. I want my job back. They were still trying to get something on me up until the day they let me go. They couldn't do it because there's nothing there.
Now that the investigation from former city manager Mike Gonzalez has ended, the mayor of Sunnyside says he's looking forward to leaving it in the rearview mirror.
I've expressed on a couple of occasions that I'm ready for this to come to an end. I'm ready for us to make a decision, but for the investigation to be done properly, to be written out properly so that everybody could understand all the implications of it. It did take this amount of time, and we wanted to do it right. I mean, if we're paying for the investigation, we wanted it to be a good one, and we wanted it to be done proper. And so that required an awful lot of patience on the part of council members, and all of us struggled with that.
But not every council member was on board with the termination.
It wasn't a unanimous decision. I think the public knows fairly well that this was hotly debated, but still, I think this was the best outcome for everybody involved.
Ramon Chavez, who lives in Sunnyside, says the city council needs to do some self-reflection on trust.
They're talking about trust, but I think we all know as a city we don't trust the council right now. There is no trust there. They're talking about trust within Mike, but in reality, they kind of look at themselves and understand that right now the city or the community members don't trust the city council at this moment.
When it comes down to what the investigation was all about, the mayor says he still can't talk about it or say how it was conducted.
Would you be able to share the investigation documents with me? Okay, that's something I could file a public records request for, right?
But right now, it's not a public record. It's between the attorneys. So city council never requested. The attorney did.
So the attorney owns the investigation
Yes.
documents?
At this point, yes.
But you guys paid
We paid the attorney.
Did you guys pay for the investigation?
We paid the attorney. We don't have the documents. How is the best way to define that, Jackie?
Would be that at this moment it is considered attorney-client privileged information.
There we go.
Our attorneys hire the investigators to conduct the investigation.
So, yeah, so it is attorney-client privilege, and we're not able to disclose that at this point.
Okay, would you be able to confirm, though, that did the city pay for the investigation?
The attorney paid the investigator,
With what money?
and the city pays the attorney.
That tells you how much transparency we have within our city.
I say release the report because I've said from the beginning, Monique, I have nothing to hide. And the way this council has operated, if there was a sliver of anything that I did wrong, they would have chopped me in 10,000 pieces and thrown me out the door. The fact that they couldn't find anything and then fired me without cause, we have a smart community. They see through it, they know the truth, and I do feel vindicated.
Gonzalez says he stands by what he's been saying from the very beginning.
This has been a witch hunt from the very beginning, and I was wrongly terminated. There's no question about it. I just am glad that I was vindicated somewhat with a without cause, because people ain't dumb. If you can't find anything after 3 months, and the simple fact of it too is the minute certain people came on the board, I've been probed since March. For 6 months I've been probed, and they have found nothing because there's nothing to find. I've always run a clean operation.
Before being placed on leave on June 2nd, the city council released their yearly review on his job performance. The council said Gonzalez had the potential to excel, and they were overall pleased with the direction he was going. But what changed?
The evaluation back in April covered the period of time of his employment from the beginning of August a year ago until essentially the beginning of April. And there was a lag of time between the council actually filling out the evaluation, having it all put together in a legible form, and then presented to Mr. Gonzalez and presented to the community. And so during that period of time from when council filled out the evaluation, things had begun happening. There were tensions already that were starting. There were concerns that rose up. So the evaluation covered one period of time, and this investigation covered other things that didn't come up in the evaluation.
However, Mayor Brosma says Gonzalez's termination had nothing to do with his evaluation.
He was given a list of things that he could work on in that evaluation, things that he may have been able to improve on and put behind him. But because of this investigation, then he was put on leave and he wasn't able to work on those either. But this termination didn't really have a whole lot to do with the evaluation. It had to do just with what council decided this just wasn't working out. It was time to move on.
I've never done anything wrong at the city of Sunnyside. They were trying to get me for 3 months, and they had to let me go without cause. So, and just several days ago, they offered me $100,000 to resign. So what does that tell the public? I mean, people aren't stupid. We have a lot of smart people in Sunnyside, and they're seeing through the nonsense. So ultimately, I think the whole thing was a disappointment for how it was handled. I think people want answers because we got to stop the corruption at Sunnyside. And the only way to stop it is for people to go to the ballot box and make a change.
Gonzalez says he's turning his anger into action and working to bring the people of Sunnyside together and vote in a city council they deserve.
Making a difference starts right at your front doorstep. So I encourage people to get involved, get my contact info. We're going to create an army for change here in the city of Sunnyside, whether I ever work here again or not. And I hope I get my job back because I deserve it. But regardless of that, we will change the city of Sunnyside. If it takes me to change that, then I'll do it because the job starts today.
As for whether or not he will take the severance agreement offered to him with his recent firing, Gonzalez says he hasn't made a decision but doesn't want to cost the city any more time or money. Reporting in Sunnyside, Monique Garcia, Apple Valley News Now.